Frankly, I wasn't too optimistic that Apollo 11 would actually land and actually return somebody successfully. I thought we'd get away with our lives. I wasn't too worried about that, but I just thought there were so many unknowns that I would have given us about a 50-50 chance of being the first flight to land and return someone safely.
Flight controllers, go for landing. Retro, go. Fido, go. Guidance, go. Control, go. Telcom, go. GNC, go. Ecom, go. Surgeon, go. Capcom, we're go for landing. Altitude 4,200. You're go for landing, over. Roger, understand, go for landing, 3,000 feet.
There are certain events in life that you never forget. And the lunar landing, and in particular the last seconds leading up to the landing, will never be forgotten. We had battled to get to the surface. We're halfway to our abort limit. About the time we got that sorted out, we started having a series of computer program alarms.
1201. 1201. Roger, 1201 alarm. 1201 alarm. Same type, we're go, flight. Okay, we're go.
And as the crew took over at about 2 minutes prior to landing, searching for a landing site, we knew that they were going to be using a lot more fuel than we had expected.
540 feet and a 15.
They keep doing this, they're going to run out of fuel.
Altitude, velocity, light. 8.5 down.
Didn't really have a good hard feeling about just how far they were from actually landing, you know. They kept going and going and going, you know. And
what were our chances of landing successfully? Getting outside, that was pretty easy to do. It was touching down so that later missions could touch down and then do the rest of the stuff. But the landing with 15 seconds of fuel remaining, that was the important thing.
4 forward, drift into the right a little. 30 seconds. Forward, drift. Contact light. Okay, engine stop. We copy you down, Eagle. Listen, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
it was like, gee whiz.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot. Okay, keep the chatter down in this room.
The unfortunate thing is no controller had an opportunity to absorb the emotion of that landing because we had to work for the next 2 hours, nonstop.
Okay, T1, stay, no stay. Retro, stay. Fido, stay. Guidance, stay. Control, stay. Telcom, stay. GNC, stay. Ecom, stay. Surgeon, stay. Capcom, we're stay for T1. And we're getting a picture on the TV. You had a good picture, huh?
Up until that moment, television had always been a goal, but not a requirement.
The LEM footbeds are only depressed in the surface about 1 or 2 inches.
Once we landed safely, the only thing that counted was for us to see the picture.
I'm going to step off the LEM now.
What I felt at that moment was the TV better work or else, and if it doesn't, they really will know who I am because I'll be the man who didn't bring you television from the moon.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, now touch me, babe. Can't you see that I am not afraid? What was that promise that you made?
Oh, that looks beautiful from here, Neil. Hey,
has a stark beauty all its own. It's like much of the high desert of the United States. It's different, but it's very pretty out here. Beautiful view. Isn't that something? Magnificent sight out here. Magnificent desolation.
The world just marveled at this right along with us, and we more or less made the whole world our partners in this thing by inviting people to be there. I think that's one of the best things we ever did in the space program. One of the best decisions ever made with regard to the space program was to share that with the world.
For one priceless moment in the whole history of man, all the people on this earth are truly one.
Come on, come on, come on, now touch me, babe.
I think it was the biggest event from an aviation point of view and probably from a scientific point of view that happened in the 20th century and maybe in the history of man.
Here men from the planet Earth first set foot upon the moon, July 1969 AD. It came in peace for all mankind.
Apollo 11, this is Hornet, over. Apollo 1, this is Apollo 11, reading you loud and clear.
Well, we had a good time on Apollo 12, and so we were happy to go and anxious for the great adventure. And so off we go, and we go into a thunderstorm immediately after launch and get hit by lightning, and it lights up a lot of caution and warning lights, and we didn't know what to do.
I don't know what happened here. We had everything in the world drop out. I'm not sure you get hit by lightning.
Thank God for Mission Control, because they came up and gave us some advice, and so we powered it back up again with their help, and everything worked out okay. We went into orbit and then off to the moon.
Hey, there it is. There it is. Son of a gun, right down the middle of the road.
They landed us perfectly. If we had not touched the controls, we would have landed right in the middle of the crater that we were shooting for.
Boys on the ground do okay.
So they wouldn't have missed it by 10 feet. And when you figure we went 240,000 miles, that's pretty amazing. Shows you the kind of capability that NASA has.
He's got it made. Come on in there. 24 feet. Contact light.
Roger, copy contact.
And that may have been a small one for Neil, but that's a long one for me.
So we got out for that time, and we placed some experiments, and then we collected a lot of rocks and made some observations.
I have the decided impression I don't want to move too rapidly, but I can walk quite well.
And then our primary job had been to land near Surveyor, which was an unmanned spacecraft that had landed on the moon in the Ocean of Storms some 33 months earlier.
Boy, you'll never believe it. Guess what I see sitting on the side of the crater? The old Surveyor, huh? The old Surveyor, yes, sir. Does that look neat?
So we were going to land there and pick up some parts like the TV camera and the scoop and things like that, bring them back to Earth for evaluation.
Apollo 13 was a team effort from the very beginning to the end.
Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here.
Go, guys.
We've had a hardware restart. I don't know what it was. Okay. Houston, we've had a problem.
When the crew threw the switches to start the crowd stir, a spark jumped between the fan and the heater assembly, and the pressure in that tank rose very rapidly because the insulation had been damaged on the system, and we now had a fire inside